Hey, hey, it's me. I want to talk about y'all. I gotta tell you about the NBA playoffs this year. This NBA playoffs has been probably a very exciting time because we saw some ups and we saw some downs. You know, we had some great matchups in both conferences. In the first round, for the first time ever, 5 of the 8 series ended up going all the way to 7 games, which is a record. It's never been done. Chances are it may never happen again. But if we're good teams like we've had this year, maybe they will happen again. Anyways, I think it was very exciting. A lot of the teams that was hoping to go all the way had to struggle, had to get clawing up. They had their great games, they had their bad games, and that's it. That's what it was. Um, the Spurs Mavericks series. I remember that game 3 when my dude Vince Carter hit that game-winning three-pointer from the corner to take the lead in the series for Dallas. I was really hoping Dallas would take out the Spurs, but they didn't do it. Spurs ended up going. They went up going 7 games, and the Spurs won. Oklahoma City and Memphis. That was another great series. Two fantastic teams. The Memphis Grizzlies, the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Thunder was another team that was really hoping to go all the way when it came to the West Coast. Got Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook. They deserve their championships, and I know they'll get them soon. I really hope they do too. But their series was exciting. We saw some great games by Durant and Westbrook, but on the Memphis side, we also saw great games by Zach Randolph and his crew. It was but I think what hurt the Memphis Grizzlies especially was the 6th game when Randolph punched out, or not punched out. He swiped his fist. I think he kind of connected with what's his name, Steven Adams of the Thunder, and got himself suspended. If he had not, I say this, if he had not got suspended, Memphis would have probably be the one that would have been moved on and not the Thunder. But can't change the past now, so Thunder got it won and they got it done. Clippers, Warriors. Now I think that of the first round in the West was the most exciting because you had two great teams there. Warriors, who were looking to get back into the Western Conference Finals. Clippers, who was the talked about team, the new talked about team of LA. That's not the Lakers. Especially that one was kind of more of an emotional issue there because of what the thing with Donald Sterling and his racist comments. The Clippers ended up doing a protest in the middle of the court, removing the jerseys, the warm-up jerseys, in the middle of the floor and then dumping them in the middle of the floor. But it was a very emotional moment, great moment. They united, and also, like I said, the two teams were Curry, Klay Thompson. Bogut, I believe, was injured, so he couldn't play. David Lee, that was if the Warriors, that is. Mark Jackson was doing a great job as coach. And then you got on the Clippers side, of course, Blake Griffin, Chris Paul, and a number of other guys. But it was a very exciting series, nonetheless. Like I said, emotional, but also exciting. And the Clippers ended up winning in 6 games. I'm glad it went, but I'm glad really it went that far, which was awesome. Now, if I can remember the last one, I'm going to check my phone, actually. I should have it. Oh, yeah, Houston-Portland. That was an exciting series, too. All the focus was basically around Dwight Howard when he left the Lakers to go to Houston, join the Rockets, and them against the Blazers. Blazers have not won a series since 2000. It took, and that was another exciting series because the exciting part was Game 6. When it came down to the wire, Damian Lillard hit that three-point shot at the buzzer to end the series and end the hopes for Houston and advancing to the next round, only to get nearly blown out by the Spurs, sadly. But yeah, that's the Western Conference. And in the East Conference, of course, the Heat, they just swept the Bobcats 4 straight games, 4-0. That was the only sweep that happened in this playoffs. Brooklyn had to struggle against Toronto, a very exciting series. Toronto had some great games. Brooklyn had great games. But Brooklyn thankfully got it done. Thanks to a block shot by Pierce. Did it in 7 games. Paul Pierce and this crew, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Joe Johnson, Darren Williams, Brooklyn moving on. Very exciting. But they had to take on the Heat, though, unfortunately. And I thought they were going to be the ones to do it. They had a good run against the Heat this year. They swept the Heat all their meetings during the regular season. But it didn't matter for the postseason, for the playoffs. Because it's a whole different ball game. But I'll get to that in a bit. Also, Indiana and Atlanta. That series, wow, went to 7 games. Indiana was the #1 seed. They were the top team to beat. But they were pretty transitional. One point they were just dominating. The next minute, one game they'd be just dominating. The next game they get blown out. They'd be kind of transitional, kind of consistent. They have a great game, they have a bad game. And then that kept happening, they were going to be in trouble. But they got through it against Atlanta to move on. Then there was the Washington series against the, let me see, I should have it. I forgot. Washington versus Chicago. Now, 2 teams where I had kind of good hopes for too. I mean, Chicago, they've been struggling ever since, Derrick Rose went down and he couldn't play. They didn't look like the same team. But they were doing well. And that series ended up going all the way to 7. But it was Washington that ended up getting the win. With John Wall and his crew. John Wall was, they did their thing. John Wall, Bradley Beal, and I was kind of having good hopes for Washington because I thought they might have been the ones to go all the way. They had to deal with Indiana, and they had a good chance against Indiana, but I think a couple of games they messed up, and Indiana ended up going to the finals, the conference finals, and it ended up being a rematch against the Heat. The Heat, surprisingly, I had high hopes for Brooklyn because I thought they were going to be the ones to dethrone the Heat, but in 5 games, the Heat got it done, which led to the rematch between the Heat and the Pacers. And what they said about the Pacers did happen. Pacers ended up struggling a little bit, and the Heat took advantage. The Heat ended up going to the NBA Finals. And then the Spurs, same thing. Spurs Thunder. Spurs did their thing against Portland, while the Thunder and the Clippers had a really great series. 2 superstar teams. But the Thunder would look like they were the better team. They proved they were the better team, and they got it done. Unfortunately, though, Thunder came close to getting the Spurs out of here, but they didn't do it. So now it's set up Heat, Spurs in the finals, which I really ain't watching because, I'm not really a fan of both teams. If you're a fan of either team, be proud. If you're a fan of basketball, then it'll be worth watching. I'll be a fan of basketball. I'm a fan of basketball, but I'm just not a fan of those 2 teams. Don't get me wrong, 2 great teams. But let me say this. The San Antonio Spurs are definitely the most boring team on the planet. And I'll admit that. They have, like I said, don't get me wrong, they're one hell of a team. They won 4 championships. Duncan with 4 of them. Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili won 3. That's a dominant team. With those 3 in a dominant trio, you can't go wrong. And then, of course, the Heat. My heart's still with LeBron James, hands down. I say he's one of the best players today. My heart is still with him, and I'm glad he's got the championships, and I hope he's going to get another one. I'm just not a fan of Miami Heat. I'm kind of tired of them. But it is over. It is what it is. That's where it stands. Spurs, Heat, in the finals. May the best team win. Good luck to both teams. Go LeBron. And that's basically it. So like I said, the playoffs, from the start, it was fantastic. But we end up with the Spurs Heat rematch. Like I said, it is what it is. Alright, so I'll say this. Are you ready for some football? I know I am. Alright, peace.